Game's over. Time to check my fantasy scores.
You using a VPN?
Why?
Because using public Wi-Fi without a VPN is like leaving your wallet open on the table.
Oh. Time to up my defense.
McAfee Secure VPN keeps your personal information private and is included in all McAfee plans starting at just $39.99 for your first year. Sign up at McAfee.com/online protection.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This episode is brought to you by Vortex Optics and Ignite Marketing Group. Check the links in the show notes.
And when I finally get to my point, that one island tree, I look up and he's not in his bed. And I'm like, what the heck? Where'd he go? Because the other Spike is in his bed and the does are still in their bed. And then I look a little bit to the left. He had gotten out of his bed, and he's kind of down in this ravine, feeding. But he's feeding towards me, which is actually a good thing. So he's working towards me, and so I range him, and he's at 55 yards. And so I draw back, and at this point I'm shaking like crazy because.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and we got another great episode for you today. Happy holidays. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope you got good plans for the New Year's. Today, we're connecting with Luke Wallace. He's a hunter. He's a videographer. He's a businessman, and he's got some cool products and great stories for us today. So I want to thank Luke for coming on the podcast. I'm not going to waste any more time, guys. Let's just jump straight into this thing. Hope you enjoy Luke's stories. All right, Luke. Welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast, brother. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Excited to have you. It's not too often that well, actually, you know what? Never mind. I was about to say not too often I get someone who's never been on a podcast before. Excuse me. But
yeah, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm excited to have you here. And it's hopefully by the end of it, you're like, oh, that was easy. And you jump on a whole bunch more because podcasting is just, it's just fun having conversations with great people. So, but let's do this, Luke. Why don't we start with you introducing yourself, man, so the folks know who they're hearing some stories from today.
For sure, yeah. My name is Luke Wallace, based in Pennsylvania. I have a background in photo and video production, and I'm obsessed with Western hunting, with hunting whitetails here in the East, and backcountry hunting.
Very cool.
I have a YouTube channel where I create hunting content, make hunting films, do reviews on hunting gear, and that's called Explorer's Workbench. And just recently came out with the Backcountry Pocket Journal here. So
that's super cool.
So obsessed with everything hunting and in particular Western hunting. So,
okay, have you been hunting your whole life, or you pick it up kind of midstream like myself?
So I started hunting when I was 12.
Okay.
And was really into it for probably a couple years. And then, I became a teenager and sports and friends and girlfriends.
Yep.
And where I grew up, there wasn't enough cultural pull to kind of keep me in hunting.
Okay.
So that kind of left my life for a while, really until maybe about 5 years ago, it kind of came back.
Okay.
And really got into it, and now I'm obsessed with it. So
that's awesome. And what was the catalyst that was like, let's get back?
It's funny. It's kind of funny how interests and hobbies sort of work their way into your life and kind of come full circle. And I don't know exactly the exact moment it kind of came back in my 30s, but it was kind of a combination of different things. I was doing some traveling out west and camping and hiking and backpacking, and I just fell in love with the Rocky Mountains and just those landscapes and everything. And then kind of got into some sort of bushcraft stuff and some kind of field to table stuff, and was hanging out with my one buddy, who really my only friend that's back here east that is a hunter, and he was like, you're a PA resident. You have your small game license. You also get a buck tag with that. You should do some you should hunt for some whitetails.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, the idea of sitting in a blind or a tree stand all day wasn't super appealing to me, but I was, in my mind, like, I would really like to chase elk through the mountains. I mean, that would just be epic, romantic. That would be a dream. So that was about 5 years ago, and I started to pursue that. And then in pursuing it, since I did have that whitetail tag, I got into that. And I'm the type of person that, once I get into something, I kind of do it. I either don't do it at all, or I do it 100%. So
Yeah.
So now really into whitetails and really into, Western hunting as well.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's been about 4 or 5 years doing that and just love it. So
Awesome. So I have another question. I made an assumption that you got into videography and photography because you were like, I want to find a way to map my hunting to my occupation. But it sounds like you picked it up kind of late with the hunting aspect of things. So were you always a photographer and videographer before, and then it ended up working out really well to fit into your hunting, or what was that journey like?
Yeah, so I love photography. I love video production and filmmaking, and that was really my passion, my first passion getting out of college.
Okay.
Most of my life, even into college and through college, I was an athlete and played football, and that really kind of took up most of my bandwidth, right? That was besides socializing and maybe girlfriends, it was all sports. When that was done, when I graduated college, there was this big gap in my brain and in my lifestyle, and that really shifted towards creativity.
Okay.
And so I got into video production and doing everything video, commercials, and then even writing scripts and writing and making films. And so that is still something to this day that I do, besides hunting.
Yeah.
But once some of these other passions come in, like hunting and whatever else it is, I love to document, I love to filmmake. So that's just going to, transition right into whatever I'm doing. And the past 5 years, the big interest and passion has been hunting. So
that's awesome, man. That's cool that what you were passionate about then rolled directly into hunting. Like a lot of people trying to do it, and they don't necessarily probably have the skill set that you have. So I'm excited to dive into your YouTube and check out some of the stuff that you're putting together, man. That's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Man, I've got so many questions I want to ask, but we're going to wait on some of them. I really want to talk about the Backcountry Pocket Journal, but we're here to hear some stories. So why don't we dive into it, Luke, man? Why don't you set the stage for your first story, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah. So the first story is actually going to be, I'm going to turn my screen. It's this mule deer buck right here.
It's a nice buck.
First mule deer buck and first time hunting in Utah. So I guess I'll bring it back to last year, maybe this time last year, application season, and trying to figure out opportunities and what I'm going to do for, the upcoming hunting season.
Yeah.
I live in the East. I live in Pennsylvania. So my opportunities are a little bit limited. And I don't have a ton of points in most of the states out West. So, application season kind of went through. I did get one tag for Colorado for first rifle for hunting elk. But I like to, if possible, get 2 tags out West per year. And I didn't have another one. I wanted to get an archery elk tag, but I didn't have any luck getting that. So
okay.
just kind of looking at different possibilities. And I had 1 point in Utah, and there was like an 80% chance I could draw a mule deer archery tag in August in Utah.
Okay.
And so I went for that, and I ended up getting that tag. And so that was part of the game plan for August, was to do that. So, I start e-scouting the unit, start looking for good habitat and good places to find some some mule deer up in the high country, and I'm also looking for ways that I can, use any advantage, in the backcountry. And one of the things that I did have and do have is a dirt bike.
Okay.
So, I was looking for places where I could find single track up into the high country and kind of take advantage of that, be more mobile, be able to carry water. A lot of these high country areas don't have access to water. So I did find a great spot up in the high country, these couple basins that I could access with my dirt bike. So that was the initial plan. But then just putting together my calendar, I wasn't going to be able to drive out to Utah. I just didn't have the time.
Okay.
And so
For like scouting or hunting at all?
just hunting.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Okay.
so I'm kind of faced with on these hunts, do I fly or do I drive? Right. That's what I got to figure out. And there's pros and cons to both.
Well, what is it? Pennsylvania to Utah is what, like 36 hours or something?
It's like 32 hours. So
okay.
So the problem I'm faced with that is since I'm going solo, I can't take shifts with somebody else. It's going to take me 2.5 to 3 days before I even get there, and then same thing on the way back.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 little kids. I've got my own business.
Yeah.
Being able to take an 8 or 9 day hunt and then an extra 6 days
just travel.
15
Yeah.
to travel, I just couldn't do it. So I had to fly. So that takes the dirt bike out of the equation. So the area that I spent a ton of time e-scouting, there was no water up in this high country. There was no streams, no lakes. And it was quite a climb. It was like 2,700 feet of vert.
Okay.
It was only like 3.5 miles, but it was a pretty good trek. So then my next issue was, okay, well, how am I going to get water up there? Because water is usually the heaviest thing that you're carrying in your pack. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll try and get a drop camp.
Yeah.
Or not really a drop camp, but to have somebody drop water for me. Bring 8 or 9 gallons of water and bring it up there on horses and just drop it somewhere for me, and then I have it for the hunt. So reached out to some outfitters, got in touch with one, and he said, okay, yeah, I'll be able to do that for you, no problem. I'm on a hunt, so I'll get in touch with you in a couple weeks. This is like a few months in advance.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll get in touch with you in a week or so, and we'll kind of hash out the details. So a couple weeks go by. He doesn't get in touch with me, so I reach out to him, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, let's talk about the details. It sounds fine. Let me just double check with some things, and I'll get back to you." He doesn't get back to me for another week, and so now we're
operating a smooth operation over there.
now we're like 3 weeks out, and I'm like, can we make this happen? And he texts me the next day and is like, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. We have this big elk hunt where all our stock's going out on it. So I'm like, okay, all right, great. So I'm scrounging to try and find another outfitter. Eventually find another guy. Yeah, no problem. I can do that for you. That shouldn't be a problem. Reach out to him a week later. He's like, oh, I can't do it. But my assistant can do it.
Okay.
He has a few horses. He can do it. So get in touch with him. So I call him. He says he can do it. A couple weeks later, he's like, yeah, you know what? I can't do it because I'm hunting that week too. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't need it that week. You can just drop it whenever. And he's like, okay, well, if that's the case, I can drop it the week before. So then a week before the hunt, he texts me and says, oh, I can't do it. My dad just bought me a hunting trip to Alaska.
My goodness.
But I'm going to try and find somebody to. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm not getting a drop. I gotta figure something out. So my game plan is, okay, I can find another spot within the unit that may have some water. And I did find some areas, but I didn't like the habitat as much as this initial spot I've been scouting.
Okay.
No.
Did you think about like renting a motorbike, or am I jumping the gun here? Like renting one when you got up there and then just driving it, doing your plan, but having a rental.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a good idea. I thought about it, but then I would have had to get a trailer. Um, at this point, I just kind of gave up on the idea
Okay. Yeah.
of that. So it kind of came down to like, okay, well, I put all this work into planning this. I know it's going to be a good area. I talked to the biologist, all this kind of stuff. Um, my options now are I can just go up. I can bring a couple gallons of water. Um, I can see if there's a spring I can find somewhere, get some water, or just after a couple days, I just relocate. And that was kind of the game plan. So I went up. My pack was like 85 pounds.
Oof. For 2,700 feet, that's tough.
It was definitely a haul. But got up there and started hunting beautiful, beautiful high country basins. Just really spectacular views. And I get in there. Is it a day or 2 days before? No, yeah, I got in there 2 days before the opener, just so I could scout and stuff like that. So first morning I scout this basin. I'm glassing and see a good amount of deer, mostly does and kind of forked horns and young bucks. But getting into deer, so I know it's a good spot. Next morning, I only see one doe, so not the best. And then by day 3, I'm out of water, so I've got to figure something out. So I have to leave essentially, and so I didn't know what I was gonna do. I guess my plan was to just go back to the truck and then get a hotel for the night and then regroup and find another area within the unit. So that was my plan. So I pack up, I get to the top of the ridge, and I'm just getting ready to descend, and I run into another hunter, and he's just sitting up there. And I actually glassed him up from the opposite ridge that morning. So I run into him and just, start talking to him, some small talk. Really nice guy. And, give him my background and we're chatting and shooting the shit and, tell him, I ran out of water. I'm leaving, I'm going to leave the area. Do you know any other potential areas in the unit that might hold deer and this and that? And he says, if you need water, just over on that ridge over there's a gallon of water. You can have it.
Oh, that's nice.
And, yeah, I was like, I can't take your water. I mean, that's probably your supply, your stash. I don't want, I'm an out-of-stater, all this stuff. He was a local, and he's like, no, he's like, seriously, I've been hunting up here for years, and just periodically I stash water up here because there's no water, especially in August.
Yeah.
And he's like, definitely just take it. I stored that up there a year ago or something like that. And I'm like,
that's so fortuitous, man. That's crazy that you just found a guy who's just stashing water all around your unit.
just great. And I'm an out-of-stater and he's a local, and he brings it up and is like, dude, there's what take that water over there, no problem.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's like, if you go down there's a flat spot that's perfect for camping. And I did see some deer over in this basin. And I'm like...
Was he hunting for deer actively as well, or was he scouting for elk season, or what was he up to?
He was hunting, but he was looking for a specific buck, like a really old buck. And what he had seen, he wasn't really interested in. But he had seen some deer, and he's like, yeah, I mean, there's some deer in here if you want to go after it. Nothing huge, but there's, decent 3x3 and some smaller bucks. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I didn't know what to say. I'm like,
yeah,
like, thank you so much. And so we exchange numbers and message and keep in touch. And I go down and I find the water. It's kind of stashed in this bush, and text him like, thank you so much. Like, are you my guardian angel? This is amazing. All this stuff. And, you know, I'm at least able to make some dinner and stay one more day in this nice high country and you know, give it another day. And so that's what I do. Make some dinner, go to bed. Next morning, come out in this area off this ridge and start glassing.
Hey, hunters. Have you ever had one of those stories, you know, the ones that you didn't want to tell, the ones that end in failure? Yeah, I've been there. Actually, you know what? The culprit for me usually is bad optics, or worse, lack of using my optics at all. Picture this. I spot a trophy buck, or an antelope, or an elk, whatever it may be. My heart is racing, but the blurry view, or I just can't quite identify exactly what I'm looking at, it has me second guessing. Well, that's where Vortex Optics comes in. With crystal clear glass and rugged durability, Vortex gives you the confidence to take the shot. Don't let poor optics ruin your story. Make every moment count. Upgrade to Vortex and turn your hunting tales into triumphs. Visit vortexoptics.com today. Running an outdoor business is a grind. One day you're glassing ridgelines or running dogs, the next you're tuning gear or working to keep the land wild. And somewhere in between, you're expected to fill calendars, move product, and keep your name alive. That's where the Ignite Marketing Group comes in. They work with outfitters, gear brands, and conservation groups to tell your story the way it deserves to be told, and to put it in front of the people who live for this lifestyle. Imagine a website that doesn't just sit there, but actually books hunts. Imagine campaigns that don't feel like ads, but like a buddy passing along a tip. Imagine your story reaching more hunters, anglers, and outdoor enthusiasts who get it and who want it. That's what Ignite does. No gimmicks, no flash, just real growth for people who belong in the outdoors. Don't just market, ignite it. Learn more at ignitemarketinggp.com/outdoors.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
And sure enough, within an hour, I pick up some deer, and I pick up a nice buck, a nice 3x4 buck. And I'm following him with the glass for an hour and just kind of watching him and seeing what he does. And he's working around kind of in this sort of thicker stuff. And I actually lose him. I lose him for maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And, you know, I continue to look around in different areas in this basin. And I look down below me a couple hundred yards. And on the edge of this patch of timber, I see a doe bed down. And she beds down with a fawn, and I keep scanning down by her, and there's a couple other beds, empty beds near her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe a buck will come in and bed down in one of these beds. That would be great. And sure enough, that 3x4 buck beds down right in one of those beds. And I'm on a ridge on this side. It kind of goes down sort of in this steep valley. And then down on the other side is this patch of timber. On the edge of that is where they're bedded. And he's bedded right there. And it's 184 yards below me, like just below me. And I'm like, this is great. This is a great setup. He's below me. It's 8 o'clock, I think, in the morning, and the sun is starting to hit the hillside that I'm on. So those thermals are starting to rise a little bit to me, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And there is a crosswind coming, periodically gusting from the side, which is also perfect. So it's like a great scenario.
Yeah. And are you archery or rifle? I don't know the Utah
this
season.
This is archery. Yeah, this is archery. Yeah. So I send a message to this guy, the fellow hunter that helped me. His name's Russ. And I'm just like, I've got this nice 3x4 buck bedded 184 yards below me. And he's like, dude, kill him. That's amazing. Like, super pumped for me.
That's awesome.
And so I give it a couple minutes for those thermals to really rise off that hillside. And I take off my boots and I start the stalk. And so I look at kind of the route that I need to take on this hillside. And there's a couple points along this hillside that there's a bush or a tree that I can kind of use for cover. So I kind of calculate that if I can get to this one small tree, it's like a small, I forget what, maybe a spruce tree, a small tree. I figured if I can get to that, I'm 60 yards from where he's bedded. And
Okay.
that's kind of like the edge of my comfort zone, as far as like max range. But I figure if I can get there, I may have a chance. So, start my stalk, take it step by step, take a break, wait for the wind to pick up, then start going again. At times just kind of scooting on my butt down this hill. And it takes an hour or 50 minutes to get to that one tree, that island tree.
Okay.
And so I get there, and the whole time I'm kind of peeking up with my binoculars, just checking in on the buck. And his back is to me, which is even better.
Wow. And you can
but
see him the whole way down, so you don't lose sight of him while you're kind of traveling that 120 yards or so.
There's a couple moments where I did kind of lose sight of him, like getting in front of different trees and bushes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, I did kind of have at least a visual on where he was. If it wasn't him, there was also a spike bedded next to him, maybe 10 or 15 yards,
Okay.
and two does. He was not facing me, so he wasn't going to be able to see me. The does, they maybe could have picked me off, so I had to make sure I was keeping an eye on them, and that other spike. But he wasn't going to notice me. So I have tabs on him the whole way going down. And when I finally get to my point, that one island tree, I look up and he's not in his bed. And I'm like, what the heck? Where'd he go?
Yeah.
Because the other spike is in his bed and the does are still in their bed. And then I look a little bit to the left. He had gotten out of his bed, and he's kind of down in this ravine, feeding, but he's feeding towards me, which is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
So he's working towards me, and so I range him, and he's at 55 yards, and so I draw back, and at this point I'm shaking like crazy because not so much. I mean, part of it is the adrenaline, and I just kind of like, hiked down 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get into position. But the other thing is I'm on such a slant that my front leg is like holding all my weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm standing on this slant, holding my bow back. And so I'm shaking so bad. I actually don't have a shot because he's covered by like a little bit of brush. And he's continuing to walk towards me. So I let down on my bow, and he has no idea I'm there still. And he keeps coming a little bit, and then I range him again, and I get 50 yards. So I dial to 50 on my sight, and I draw back again, and I'm just waiting for him to clear this tiny branch. It's like a fallen down tree that's kind of just blocking his vitals.
Of course.
And,
So trees fall to block vitals. That's exactly the pattern they fall in.
Of course. And so he takes a couple steps out, and I've got his vitals perfectly, and I just let it rip, and arrow goes, and it sounds like a good solid hit. I'm sitting there, I'm shaking, I'm like, holy crap, like what an experience.
Yeah.
He runs off, the other deer run off. Where he was at in the ravine was pretty shadowed. The sun was still kind of coming up in the east, and the trees were blocking, a good bit of it. So where he was still shadowed. So I could see my arrow because I had a lighted knock on the back of it. So I could see it stuck in the ground. So that was good. I knew where my arrow was, and I knew I could go look at it and see if there was blood on it. But I gave it maybe 25, 30 minutes, just kind of caught my breath, kind of relaxed. And then I went down there. I looked at my arrow. It was completely covered in red blood. So I was really excited when I saw that. I knew I hit him. It sounded good. It sounded like a long shot.
What was his angle when you shot him? Was he broadside, quartering towards, quartering away?
So he was broadside, slightly quartering to me.
Okay.
So a little bit of a quarter, but mostly broadside.
Okay.
So, yeah. So at this point, I'm really excited because this is my first mule deer buck. I still don't know if it was an amazing hit. I mean, by the blood, it looked lethal. So I sent a message to that guy, Russ.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, you're like, I did it.
I sent him a picture, and I'm like, dude, I got into 50 yards, got a great shot. I sent him a picture of the arrow, and he's like, he's really excited. He's like, that's awesome. And so at this point, again, it's dark red blood. So, I'm thinking it was, I at least got one lung, but I probably got liver because the blood is real dark.
Okay.
So another thing, not to do like a shameless plug, but in this Backcountry Pocket Journal, I do have a blood trailing reference guide.
Oh, really? That's convenient.
And it gives you some tips on how to approach blood trailing an animal, and the different colors of blood, what you can expect, how long to wait, and how to approach it. So I was pretty sure it was a liver shot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to back out a little bit. I'm going to go get my boots, go get some water, and just kind of regroup, and then maybe pursue it again in an hour. And so I gave it an hour and a half. Got my boots, went back down, and started the blood trail. And there was some good blood.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The Subaru Share the Love event is on from November 20th to January 2nd. By the end of this event, Subaru and its retailers will have donated over $350 million to charity. When you purchase or lease a new vehicle during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and its retailers will make a minimum $300 donation to charity. Visit Subaru.com/share to learn more.
There was some pretty good blood to start, and then it would kind of be sporadic. So it was never like spraying blood everywhere, like some of the stuff you see. There would be like a couple drops here, then a drop there, then a drop there, then a pretty good splash there, and so I followed that trail for about 250 yards.
Okay,
and then it started to dry up a little bit, and it looked like it was leading to this thick patch of timber. And so it looked like maybe he had tried to go in this timber and go to bed down and whatnot. And so I wasn't sure how to continue this. So I sent another message to this guy, Russ, and was like, hey man, what do you think? I just tracked him, 250 yards. The blood is starting to dry up. And it looks like he may have headed into this thick patch of timber. And and I was like, I think I'm going to back out, for another hour or so.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. I'm going to come down and meet you. He was glassing like another basin. He's like, I'm going to come down and meet you and give you a hand.
Guy. What a guy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And
what's his name? Russ, you said?
His name's Russ, yeah.
Russ. We need more Russes in this world. All right, keep going.
Seriously, yeah. And so I go back to my camp. I get some food, get some water. He shows up and, high fives and, congratulations, let's go get this buck. And so we continue this trail, and we pick up the blood where I kind of left off, and we continue this trail for hours. We're basically hands and knees at points, just finding a little bit of drop, one little drop here under a leaf.
Yeah.
One here on a rock, here on some sand, and several times we would just be stumped, and we start grid searching, and somebody would find a drop over there, and then we'd go that way, we'd pick it up, and we have a little bit of a time limit because it's August. It was 70, 75 degrees, so we didn't want the meat to spoil, so trying to find him as quick as possible. So we keep going, we get stumped, we get back on it. And a couple of those times that we're stumped, it was Russ, the one that picking up the clues and continuing the trail. I mean, I learned a lot of kind of woodsmanship from him on this trail. And
That's
a couple
cool.
times there was no blood at all. And we're like, what do we do? It's 45 minutes just kind of circling around and we don't find anything. And he would find a track and he'd say, look at this track. It looks like he's kind of sputtering and tripping. This is probably him. It looks like a buck track. So then we would get on that, and then 20 yards later we'd find some blood and continue it. Or another one was we're going, and then there's this big fallen down tree, probably like 4 feet high, and I'm like, I don't know where he went, and he's like, look here at these track imprints. Do you see that? He's like, you can tell here that the buck kind of loaded up on his front feet before he sprung over this tree. And I'm like, what? And sure enough, he goes to the other side and we pick up some blood.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was really cool. And so we continued. We eventually did get to a point where we're probably like 600 yards on the trail, and we're both just totally stumped.
Yeah.
And it's hot, and we're like, let's sit down in the shade, get some water, get some snacks, and then we'll give it one last hurrah. One last.
You go to the next tree, and he's got 2 jugs of 2 gallons of water stashed there.
Exactly.
Oh man.
So we sit down, we regroup, get a snack. And then we kind of come to a crossroads. At this point, we go to the last point of where the blood is, and we're like, he could have gone this way or he could have gone that way. And Russ, he's like, I know this area. I really hope he did not go that way. And I'm like, why? What's that way? And he's like, a really, really nasty cliff and drop off. He's like, I don't think he would go that way because he's like, I rarely see deer try and scale that. It's pretty nasty. So we tried the other way. Nothing. We came back to that point, and we're at our last option. So we drop our packs, we drop our bows, and we start down this kind of steep drop-off canyon. And we take a couple steps down, and Russ looks down, and he goes, dude, your buck. And he's like, grab your bow. and we look and we realize he's dead. The buck is dead there, right halfway down this cliff ravine.
Yeah.
And he's just in there. And we both just absolutely freaked out. We're hugging. We're like,
yeah,
this is amazing. The best feeling in the world. And so we go down, we get our hands on it, and it was just amazing. It ended up being over 700 yards. We tracked him.
That's crazy.
And like four and a half hours of tracking him before we recovered him.
Okay. Well, fill us in. What did the shot look like? Was it just a stubborn mule deer that didn't want to die and a great shot, or was the shot a little off? Or you tell me.
Yeah, so it was.
And we won't know any better if you want to say it was a perfect shot and he's just a tough deer.
It was not a perfect shot. I would say, obviously it wasn't a perfect shot, but it was a single lung liver shot, and he was just a tough deer.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think his adrenaline, it was 700 yards. He probably did that full speed in 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just probably full steam and tried to go to a safe place and just at that point died. So, we recovered him. The meat was all fine. I've been eating it. It's been delicious, and it was just a really amazing kind of journey, really.
Okay,
so
that's amazing. Now, here's the real question about Russ and his character. Did he help you pack out, or did he go back on his hunt and you packed out on your own?
He helped me pack out.
Of course he did. I knew the answer. That's amazing. How was the pack out? At this point you're pretty far back, low on water, unless Russ was peeling up more jugs of water for you. How did it go?
No, it was brutal because we were down off this half of this cliff, and so it was really hard to scale that to get back up to there.
Yeah.
And then we had to go up, and climb to the top of the ridge, and then it was all downhill. And it was, by the time we got back to the truck, it was 11 p.m.
Okay.
So, and he helped me pack out. He had a dirt bike, so he packed out half of the deer in his pack on his dirt bike, and I hoofed it. But
gotcha.
Yeah, we got back, and I was like, Ross, take whatever meat you want. I owe you this deer. You gave me water. You told me where deer were. You helped me track it. I don't think I would have been able to track this deer without you, at least not in time to recover it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, take whatever you want. He was like, I'm not taking anything. My freezer's full. So it's midnight. I was like, let me treat you to Denny's at least. So we went out to Denny's and got some food. And
I bet that was one of the best meals you ever had.
Yeah. At that point, it was amazing. So
that's a great story, and it's cool that you found someone that was so friendly and so helpful and so wonderful. Just in the backcountry, right? Like I've run into guys that have been kind of rude right off the bat. I've never run into somebody. I've run into plenty of friendly people, but I've never really had the opportunity to like push that friendliness and see how far it could go. But that's awesome that Russ did all of that, and with a smile on his face, and just was like, dude, you killed it, Luke.
Incredible, yeah. I mean. Yeah. The whole time I'm like, are you my guardian angel? Like, who sent you to help me out on this? But just a really stand-up guy, and we still keep in touch to this day. I texted him the other day, sent him a couple journals, and just an awesome dude. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I'm from Pennsylvania, so I'm used to hunting the big woods of PA, and there's some people are nice, but you definitely get the stink eye a lot too, and people are very protective of their spots, and I was taken back for sure. So
yeah, especially as like a non-resident. I know in Colorado, where I'm from, people can get a little hostile towards non-residents. I don't get it. I'm one of those, like, as you can imagine, being a podcaster, right? I run into someone in the woods. I'm like, let's talk. I'm like, let's have some fun, man. I want to know who you are. But
absolutely.
There's plenty of folks out there that are like, don't worry about me. Just mind your own business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to some degree, I get it, but on the other hand, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity out there. There's plenty of game, and I'm going to try and pay it forward moving forward, just from that experience and try and help people out. And
that's awesome.
So, yeah,
I think that's the right attitude. I think that's absolutely the right attitude. Well, that was a great story. You got to connect me with Russ, because I bet that guy's got 100 more stories just like it. He probably just goes up there. He's like the Utah Santa Claus, just up there helping people. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he said that he had a similar experience a couple years back where he was hunting in a different area and somebody helped him out. And I don't know if he was conscious of it the time he was helping me, but he said that was kind of a neat full circle moment for him as well. So
that's awesome. That's amazing, man. Well, you got any other stories you want to share? I know that you've kind of fell back in love with hunting, and that story was amazing. But do you have any other ones you want to share?
So that's probably the best one I got now.
Okay.
I mean, I have plenty of hunting stories. I mean, every hunt is a story. You know what
exactly.
I mean? So,
yep.
So yeah, not quite as interesting as that, but yeah, it just depends.
That's okay. Let's talk about your journal here, man. The pocket journal, because I don't know if you found me or I found you on Instagram, but basically I was like, this is cool. Like, this is something that I've personally been thinking about. So before I dive into my thoughts on it, why don't you tell everybody, like, what is it? How do you use it, et cetera? And we'll start there.
Absolutely. So yeah, this little thing right here is the Backcountry Pocket Journal. And it's just a small pocket-sized notebook journal for backcountry hunters to tell their story, to document their experiences. And it has several different tools and guides in it as well to help you. So it's part guidebook and part just open space for you to use to tell your story, to document, to write down creative inspiration, to do whatever you want with.
Yeah, I love that, man. Like I said, I go on these 10-day elk hunts, 9-day elk hunts, and like by day 7, you're like, when did we talk about this? When was this? And like, and it's something that's been just rolling around in my head, being like, it all does start to meld together eventually, because you become exhausted, and it's just harder to recall 4 days ago when you are exhausted. And I'm like, man, I need to start, for lack of a better term, journaling. Like, I need to get back to camp, spend 5 minutes just writing down my thoughts for the day, maybe the weather, whatever details that I think would be interesting. And part of the reason I wanted to do it is because I was like, man, it'd be cool for my kids to like have this book. And they're like, this is Dad's hunting book. And like, when I'm not here anymore, they can go in there and be like, oh, I always saw this elk on the wall. Like, I never knew this story. Let me dive into like all the details of this hunt. And it's something that, like, as I get older and I realize I'm never going to be that great of a hunter, but I'm having fun doing it, and I can teach my kids these things. I think I can hold more lessons. I can share more stories just by journaling. And then, of course, boom, you showed up in my life, Luke, with this cool product. So I think it's very cool, and I think everyone should do it. It's something that I've been stalling, but I'm going to definitely pick up this next season.
Yeah, and I think that is a beautiful reason to journal. One of the things I love most about this is a couple things. One, say 5 years down the line, you've got a stack of these kind of forgotten in a desk drawer, and your kid or somebody comes across it and flips through that, and they get to see the details of your adventures. You know what I mean? The challenges, whatever it was, the funny things that happened in camp. How cool is that? I mean, just think about finding a stack of Teddy Roosevelt's or somebody modern like Cam Haines or some super successful adventurer or hunter, finding a stack of their journals and flipping through it. I mean, how cool would that be? And so, because of that sentiment, there's one thing I really love about this journal, and that's in the back. There's, your own personal harvest report, and this is a place where you can just put down the details of how your harvest went, if you did harvest, and you can put a picture of it, and you can just write down the experience of it, and it's just a nice little cherry on top of this journal that you can flip through. In addition to everything else you journal about your adventure that you can use to remember, you can share with your friends and you can share with your kids. And, I just thought it would be a neat thing for hunters to do. Because the way that today is, documenting your hunts now and your adventures is easier now than it ever was. I mean, you have a phone, right? I mean, you can live stream your whole life if you want.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, and if you want to, I think that's great. I love where we are in society, that we have all these different social media tools and cameras and cell phones, and we can share these experiences. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not the only way to share these experiences. It's not the only way to document your adventures. And there was a way that we were doing it for thousands of years before this came along, and that was with pen and paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I still think there's a connection there. And some people still do it. I think less and less younger people are doing it, but I still think there's a want and a need for that kind of journaling and documenting.
Yeah, I think it's valuable. Emotionally, like this year was the first year we've had like emotions in camp where one of our hunters blew up at everybody else, and like it might have been nice to, like, when that happened, look back and like, what happened? Like, where did that come from? And like, just, I don't know, being able to recall all of those things, because it was like day 7 or 8, and by that point we're like, I don't remember. Were we being assholes? Like, I don't think so. I don't know. There's just all sorts of different reasons why I think it's a great idea, and I've been thinking about doing it. I just never pulled the trigger, and here we are. I wish we were doing this earlier, Luke, because I think this would be an awesome stocking stuffer. And here we are. This episode's going to come out just after Christmas. But I encourage everyone to grab one and take it on a hunt. See how you feel about the process, because I can't imagine people not enjoying documenting their process, especially 5 minutes into the day. Write down your thoughts, your notes, whatever. Let me ask you this real quick, Luke. Was there a point in the woods where you're like, I wish I had a journal, or did you always journal and you just wanted to make a more formal like version of it, or like what's the story behind the idea?
Yeah, so pocket journals have been a part of my daily life for 15 years.
Okay.
For a variety of different reasons. Most of my adulthood, I've worked for myself as a creative. And so because of that, I don't have a boss usually telling me what to do, right?
Yeah.
Telling me what tasks I need to do. So I've always had all different types of pocket journals, really as a planner, to keep me productive, to-do lists.
Keep track of the creative thoughts, etc. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also as a filmmaker as well, storyboarding. And so there's always been a connection for me, with a pencil and a pad or a pen. Okay. And it's just been a very useful tool for me. I also have been using it for hunting as well. And it has been nice, when I get back to camp, don't have service, don't want to be on my phone really either. So yeah, just 5-10 minutes, just kind of journal your day, document what happened. And yeah. And so just looking over some of my journals over the past couple of years, I thought, yeah, it'd be neat to make one of these for the backcountry hunter, to kind of tailor make it for their needs, and give them a space to do this. So, and you there's plenty of pocket notebooks out there, a ton of different brands, Field Notes, Moleskin, they're all good, but I wanted to also include, some helpful tools for the backcountry in here as well, some things that could be of use. And so that's why I kind of added those things, and then added the harvest report as well, just to kind of help create the memories and make it something you can collect and share with friends and family. So
yeah, what little tidbits of information have you stashed in there? I know you showed the blood trailing page, which shows you the colors of the blood you could be expecting depending on what you hit and how to blood trail. What other creative pages do you have in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the inside cover is emergency contact information. So,
That's
your
smart.
wife, your mom, whoever. You can put in medical conditions if you're diabetic or something like that.
Okay.
If somebody were to find you incapacitated, they could look at that and would probably be helpful if they saw you were diabetic or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's the inside cover. We have weather tracking. We've got navigation speed reference charts. So if you want to figure out how long it's going to take you to get from the trailhead to your campsite, you can plug in, different parameters and figure out, it's going to take me 4.5 hours. Am I going to be able to get there before dark? Those kind of things.
Okay.
So there's that. There's backcountry first aid in here. There's essential knots for the backcountry.
That's a good one.
Helpful knots for camp that you can use. Fire starting, signaling for help. Basic information on how to read wind and thermals. Animal track ID and scat ID.
Gotta have the poop page.
Got to, yeah. There's a couple pages of rifle ballistic charts.
Okay.
If you're a rifle hunter, you can put in your data there, your dope, and just have it as a backup. You probably have it on an app or something like that, but it's good to have a backup. How to clean a fish, small game, how to blood trail a deer, and then you've got your harvest report in the back.
Cool.
And then there's 32 pages of just blank lined paper that you can do whatever you want with. So
that's awesome, man. Well, I know I'm going to get a couple here soon, and I'm hoping it's something that I've been thinking so much about. And usually, when I think about things for a really long time, I usually adopt them pretty well. So I'm hoping I'm going to take it with me on my next hunt, and I'm hoping it becomes something that's just going to be part of how I operate moving forward. If nothing else, just to help me remember the stories, but then to have them for my children, for their children, etc. Because I think it's just a cool thing. Who knows? Maybe at some point turn it all into some bigger book or something. But like have all those notes. So it's a cool thing, Luke. I love what you're doing.
Appreciate that. Yeah, and please, when you use it, give me some feedback. I want to make this thing better. I want to continue to come out with different variations, different tools, different layouts to make it as good as I can. Right now I am testing different materials, different waterproof paper materials, things like that. So early 2026 we'll be coming out with a completely waterproof version. I'm just trying to figure out the best material for that, because a lot of those waterproof papers, just the experience of writing on them isn't great. So
gotcha.
Just trying to find the right one for that, and we'll have that as well. But yeah, I want to continue to make this better. So please give me any feedback that you have.
I'll give you one piece right now, and again, I haven't played around with it yet, but I told this to my friend, another man who developed a product. But in general, Hunter Orange, man, you got to go with Hunter Orange on the outside. The red it's very good looking. Is that red or is that orange? It looks to me right now. It looks. Okay.
Yeah, it might be my camera, but it is Hunter Orange. So.
Okay, perfect. Well, then you already did it. My buddy, I was like, why'd you choose green? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, why didn't you go with Hunter Orange? He's like, brilliant. And it looked just red on the camera. So ignore that. You're ahead of the game. Other than that, man, I'll let you know how it goes. I'm hoping to get a bear hunt in, an elk hunt, and maybe a mule deer hunt this year. So I'll be using a couple of them, and I'll give you all the feedback I can. Let's do this, Luke. Why don't you share where the people can find either you, your personal socials or whatever, or if you just want to, the Backcountry Pocket Journal.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find the Backcountry Pocket Journal at backcountrypocketjournal.com. If you want to see any of my hunting films or hunting content, gear reviews, you can find that at Explorers Workbench on YouTube.
Okay.
So, yep.
Perfect.
Also, this is on Instagram as well. Backcountry Pocket Journal Backcountry Pocket Journal on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we will make sure to put links to everything in the show notes. Make it nice and easy for everyone. All I got to do is click. They don't got to chase anything down or get any typos. But Luke, man, this was fun. Thank you. Your story was pretty amazing. It's fortuitous because this is going to come out the day or the Monday after Christmas that you have basically ran into backcountry Santa. So that's pretty great.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And we'll have you back on here. I have a feeling you're going to have plenty of more stories with detailed notes to make sure you don't forget anything. So
anytime. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Take care.
All right, guys, that's it. Another couple stories in the books. I want to thank Luke again for coming on the podcast, connecting with me, and sharing the Backcountry Pocket Journal. I think that thing's super cool. I can't wait to get mine. It's going to be part of what I do moving forward because I want to be better at remembering these things, as well as just have them for my family or whatever reasons we end up using them. But Luke, thank you very much. I appreciate you. To you listeners, please give us a like, a review, and share the podcast with one other person. But beyond that, guys, again, happy holidays. Now get out there and make some stories of your own.
The high-octane phenomenon, Sisu Road to Revenge, comes home with a bang. It's an insane ride and an adrenaline-filled action epic. Critics are raving with an explosive 96% score and certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, saying it's the action spectacular of the year, with some of the craziest fight set pieces ever put to screen. Don't miss the ultimate adventure. Get it now on Prime Video, Apple TV, or Fandango at Home. Rated R.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. One of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.